Ready? You think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready.
Yeah, you better get ready. It's another edition of Wrestle Talk with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin, Jim Frazier, and it's great to be here today. Another Tuesday and another Wrestle Talk, and it's election night tonight. And I forgot to mention earlier on Sports Corner because we got so busy talking about the Steeler trade today that I forgot to mention. Please go out and vote. There's still time. Polls are open until 8 o'clock. Go out and vote. Put your vote in. For president and whoever else you're going to vote for. I voted before the show. The good news for me is my voting polls are right downstairs in the community room here in my building, so that's good news. I mean, I used to send in one of those mail-in ballots, but I don't do it anymore since the voting place is right down here in my community room. So please go out and vote. Smokin' Jim Frazier, welcome to the show. It's great to have you today for Wrestle Talk.
Oh man, this is best hour of the week for
it is.
People,
and you know what, we weren't on last week because I had a prior engagement. I went to Anytime Fitness out in Fox Chapel, met up with Mike Logan. It was sponsored by Draft Nation, former Steeler. We're going to have him either here on this show or on our radio show, the Sports Corner radio show, every single Saturday afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m. on the on 1250 a.m. and 92.5 FM, The Answer. There's that right there. And then don't forget this Saturday starting at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Ralph Williams Show with me, Ralph Williams, my guest, Tony Moreno. And you're going to love this. We got a lot to talk about, city politics and a whole lot more with Tony Moreno. All right. And we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. All right. And right now, this we have Justin Wallis coming on. And as soon as before he comes on, he's sponsored by Robin Campbell Insurance, 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell Insurance. Call him today. All types of insurance through Farmers Insurance and Bristol West. He has all different types of insurance. So call him today, 412-366-3399. All right. Now let's get to our guest today, independent wrestler, Justin. Spell your last name again, please. I'm sorry.
You're good.
All of a sudden.
It's WOOLWINE, WOOLWINE. And just small correction, I'm an independent wrestling podcaster.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I thought you were an actual wrestler. I know you have your own company there. Is it a wrestling company or do you do your podcasts and whatnot?
I do my podcast, and it's kind of like a fantasy league. It's with action figures. It's a little unique.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Smokin' Jim, say hello to Justin.
Hey, Justin, what's happening, buddy?
Nothing. I'm glad to be on here. Excited.
All right. Justin, you have your own company there behind you there. Is that a wrestling company or is that your podcast company?
It's my podcast company. It's ILW Pod. Right now exclusively on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Do you have on your podcast, do you have guests like I have you today? Or tell us a little bit about your podcast, other than that you use action figures and you do fantasy and stuff like that.
So the podcast itself is 3 times a week. So I host an interview Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and it's with a different independent star from all over the United States. I've had a couple people from Australia. Recently,
wow.
I've recorded one with a Russian star who is now in the U.S. I also have an extension of the podcast. It's called ILW Pod Holding Court, which is something me and my father put together. It's every Monday, and we go through last week's wrestling events, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, AEW, And then whatever fantasy match I put out the week before, we kind of review that, stuff like that.
I see. Okay. So I guess you wouldn't mind staying on for a little bit and talking with us about the Crown Jewel pay-per-view.
No, I'd love it.
All right, great. I don't know how much time you have, but we'll be talking about that as well. But
I could
anyway,
stay with you as long as you need.
oh, okay, great. That'll be great because I was trying to get on Bubba Brewer, who owns the Allied Powers Wrestling Federation here in Western Pennsylvania. It's out of Indiana, PA, actually, and I was trying to get him on to talk about his event on the 26th that he had in October down in Johnstown, PA. He was also a former independent wrestler, and he's had some professional. Have you actually interviewed on your podcast? Because I've always tried to get him on mine. Some of the guys from WWE, AEW, retired wrestlers, that kind of thing.
I do have a special one coming out tomorrow. It is an ECW legend. I haven't released the name yet. Kind of a surprise. I figured tomorrow's a good day with the 2300 Arena show for NXT.
Yes, that's coming up with NXT. Yeah, we have Bully Ray, or Bubba Ray Dudley, or whatever he calls himself these days. But anyway,
Nice.
and I met he's going to be teaming up with Trick Williams, I believe, for that 2300 event. That's going to be an interesting event in Philadelphia. I'm wondering if we're going to see Paul Heyman, make his return. So I would like to see that because Paul's a good guy. He put together a ECW, ran it out of his house for a little while, and Paul's a really good guy. Knows his wrestling, and it would be nice to see him come back. I know he's hurt right now from what happened with the bloodline and everything else. Smokin' Jim, you have any questions for Justin?
Yeah, Justin, it sounds like your dad is really big into professional wrestling as well. Is he the one that got you really involved early on in professional wrestling?
Yes, he. All my earliest memories are watching wrestling with him, or playing wrestling action figures with him, or going to live events. Some of my first events were in West Virginia. That's where I'm from. I moved out to Chicago when I was a little younger, or older, I should say. But the podcast is something that was his idea. Independent wrestlers, I don't feel always get the credit they deserve.
No,
and
they don't.
Nobody ever really asks for the interview from the guy who's been training for 2-3 years, or who's been on the independent scene for 7 years and hasn't been seen on WWE or AEW. And those are the guys that I try to go get the stories from. There's guys that's traveled far and wide, and worked really hard to hone their craft. And as a wrestling fan and as a podcaster, I feel it's my duty to get their stories out there, to get their names out there, and to let wrestling fans hear them, and to hopefully get more eyes on them.
That's exactly what we do here, Justin. We promote the events. We try to make as many as we can. We get the independent wrestlers on here from the companies in this area most of the time, and I've had some out of towners on. When I had my the Wrestle Talk radio program, I had a guy from Michigan who's a friend of mine. Okay, what I have in front of us here, guys, Smokin' Jim can't see it, he's on the phone, but this is going to be the Survivor Series possible card. Okay, and we're going to dissect this and go down the line here with Smokin' Jim and Justin and I. All right, first off here, we have the projected card for the Survivor Series. We have here Braun Breaker versus, for real, Dominic Mysterio. All right, Smokin' Jim, we'll start with you.
Dominic.
All right. Justin, your thoughts on this match?
I think, honestly, Dominic deserves it. I think he's probably one of the best characters on Monday Night Raw. Do I think he would win this match? Absolutely not. I think Breaker would squash him. But as a talent, I think it would be great. And I think he could do some great character work with the likes of Braun Breaker.
Okay, the next match here, and you know what happened at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, which we'll go over later. But the no-holds-barred match between Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Now, I saw this coming because Kevin Owens was frustrated with Cody Rhodes because he teamed up with Roman Reigns after they had been fighting the bloodline for so many years and all this other stuff, and crying like a little baby. So his contract was up, I think, and I think he re-signed. He's going to be with the WWE for another couple more years. But he was sort of a guy that's like in between things. He's going up against Randy Orton, no holds barred match. Your thoughts, Justin? We'll start with you.
Personally, I think I'd rather see a Falls Count Anywhere stipulation. We've seen all the brawling, all the different environments that they've interacted in, but the hardcore type stipulation or the no holds barred stipulation fits these two so well, and it's something honestly I'd like to see KO win.
Okay, how about you, Smokin' Jim?
Randy Orton.
Okay, good. All right, next, the women's War Games match. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and the what's her name's group there? She was on last night on Raw in that Battle Royal, and I can't. She's with the Selective or whatever they call themselves. Two of the members there, Shayna Baszler. There we go, and Zoe Starks. That's one team. The other one is the Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi and Bailey. Your thoughts, Justin?
I think Jade Cargill's team wins this all the way.
All right. What about you, Smokin' Jim?
I agree with our guest.
There you go. All right. Let me ask you guys a question here real quick. I have predicted this starting at the beginning of the time that Jade Cargill's been here. Do you think she sticks with Bianca Belair, or do you think she goes on her own and tries like she did in AEW? Start with you, Smokin' Jim.
Well, up until last night, I didn't think. I thought she would stick with the tag team, but the look in her eye last night told me that she's in it all for herself.
Right. Yeah, I predicted this from the beginning. I said that when she gets here, she's going to screw over. I think she's going to screw Bianca Belair over and move on. Justin, what do you think about that?
I agree. I think we're probably 6 months out. Probably WrestleMania is that expected match. You'd have to think that's on the cards for Jade versus Bianca with a heel Jade going in.
Right, exactly. Okay, here we go here. I said this was going to happen. And again, nobody believed me. And again, everybody thought I was full of crap. I said the Motor City Machine Guns were going to come into the WWE and become champions. I didn't think it was going to be this quickly, but they did. Wow. And they are the tag team champions. They're going to go up against the Street Profits. Now, this is going to be a really interesting match, but I like the Motor City Machine Guns. I've seen them in action. I worked security for ROH when they were there. They've been singles champions. And they are just one heck of a team that has been together for many, many more years than Street Profits. I believe that they're going to retain their title, and I believe they're going to have these titles for a little while. Your thoughts, Justin?
Definitely. I think it's too soon for the Machine Guns to drop it. I think the bigger idea with that match would be, will there be a split from the Street Profits? And if so, I believe Dawkins is the one that turns on Ford.
Yeah, that could happen as well. Your thoughts, Smokin' Jim?
Yeah, I agree with you, Rel.
All right. Do you agree with Justin that there could be a split up between the Street Profits?
Well, could be a split up between that one guy. Who's his girlfriend? Who's the one competitor's girlfriend? She's real famous in the WWE. She might lose her man to that girl that walks around with the Street Profits. So she better.
Oh, you mean B-Fab? Yeah, B-Fab. Yeah. All right. Next, World Heavyweight Championship: Gunther versus Damian Priest. I got to tell you what, I called this too. I said Gunther will be a world champion at some point. I respect him because of his wrestling ability, but let me tell you this much: he went to the well too often against Cody Rhodes in the Crown Jewel match, and Cody ended up winning. He kept on going into that sleeper hold, and after a while, it got old. Cody Rhodes finally found a way to to maneuver around it. Now that Arn Anderson's back with Cody Rhodes helping him train and stuff like that, I think Cody Rhodes can be a force to reckon with down the road. What's your thoughts on Gunther versus Damian Priest, Justin?
I think it's a Gunther win.
Yes.
Definitely. I don't think after the pinfall loss to Cody, there's any way he loses the title right now. Not that Priest wouldn't deserve a second reign, but I don't think it's his time.
No, not at all. I think Gunther's going to carry it for a while like he did the Intercontinental Championship, unless Seth Rollins beats him, which could happen too. But Seth's too tied up with Bronson Reed right now. So, but this is just a projected card. We could see more. I'm thinking another Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins match, maybe in a cage perhaps or something. And who knows? We'll see what happens there. But this is just a projected card of 6 matches. And I think it's going to be a little more than that. This is a spectacular. Survivor Series always is a big pay-per-view event. It's not one of the lower ones. Men's War Games. Here we go. All right, Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Sami Zayn versus the current obnoxious bloodline. Justin, start with you.
Honestly, I think that we get the bloodline win. I just think it would make you got to establish them as a team, and the win over Roman Reigns and the Usos at Crown Jewel started that. I just think if you want to establish them as an actual threat, they're going to need another win, and a pin to Roman or a pin to Jimmy inside War Games would do that. But I want to see what Fatu does in this matchup. I think he is the wild card.
All right, Smokin' Jim, your thoughts, Gunther, Damian Priest first.
Well, number one, Gunther's dad would not be pleased with him losing to Damian Priest. So you can forget that. So I'll go with Gunther the whole way, and I'm always going to ride with Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah,
I feel like, especially if Sammy is with them, I think that they'll win.
Absolutely. You know something. You don't have to always. I've always said this. You don't always have to be friends, but you can. If you're going after a common enemy, and you have to team up with somebody you can't get along with, sometimes that's the way you have to do it. And maybe Sami Zayn has some feelings about what happened back in the past, but I think he's willing to put everything aside to try to do this. And I believe that to be the case as well. Now here's another projected Bloodline Survivor Series War Games match right here. It has Roman Reigns with the Usos, Sami Zayn, and another cousin, because I heard there's about 3 more cousins connected with the Usos that are coming through the wrestling system, and The Rock with the new Bloodline. Your thoughts on this, Smokin' Jim? What do you think this could happen as well?
Yeah. When you mention The Rock, anything with The Rock could happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Justin.
Do I think it's something that's impossible? No. Do I think we'll see The Rock in War Games? Probably not.
All right. Okay, let's get into some events going on here. Rise Wrestling has an event this Saturday, 1:00 p.m. Union Time. The Stronghold, 1:00 p.m. Gregory Iron. He's a handicapped hero, and he's going to be doing a seminar at he has a training center called Stronghold Training Center. He works with Rise Pro Wrestling. He will be hosting a seminar. If you're interested in attending, 1:00 p.m. at the Stronghold Wrestling Company in Uniontown. For details, email risewrestling at gmail.com to reserve your spot. All right. Also, Rise is having their event this Saturday, 7:00 p.m. is the bell time. The Stronghold event, Uniontown Mall, and Rise Tag Team Championship match. It's going to be Jace Mara and Tad Jarvis, who we've had on the show here. They're going to be teaming up against Sonny Vice and Alex Dennis, the Fall Guys. So that ought to be an interesting matchup. And also coming up December 7th, 6 p.m., KSWA Wrestling at the Sheridan, part of the city of Pittsburgh, at 2863 Chartiers Avenue at the American Legion. Post number 496, $20 ringside tickets, $20 stage seating, $15 general admission for KSWA, Keystone State Wrestling Association. And at this thing, they're going to have a toy drive and a fan fest. And guess who's going to be there? Ron Garvin, former NWA World Champion. And I got to tell you, Ron Garvin was one heck of a wrestler. I watched him wrestle back in the day, and he's going to be there. Smokin Jim and I will be there as well for that event for KSWA. All right, let's talk about the Crown Jewel pay-per-view now. As soon as I pay a couple bills here, real quick here. But first, the one bill I got to pay is this studio sponsor bill, and that's Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. You ought to call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500. Winter is coming up, and get your furnace fixed, get it put together, get UV lighting so your house don't get robbed. Also, snow melt. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500. You ought to call Mata. Justin, I wanted to ask you real quick before we move on here. What's going on? How's the independent wrestling circuit in Chicago? I mean, you say you're from Chicago. Is it as good as it is and popular there as it is across the other parts of the country?
It's crazy. There's tons of promotion. There's wrestling every weekend.
Right.
It's hard to keep up with. There's an influx of talent. I'm actually probably about an hour and 40 minutes away from Chicago itself, and there's 2 promotions in the city I'm at. Some of them are your lower, maybe 12 guys can fit in the arena, and then there's other ones that you might get a couple thousand. There are some bigger events closer to the city, but there's no shortage of wrestling up here.
Oh, I know. It's like that all across the country, I think. All right, let's get into the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. It was interesting. I had to take my wife to choir rehearsal, so we didn't get back in time. I didn't catch the first match, which I probably could catch it on Peacock, but when I was able to get here back home and get it on, it was the Kevin Owens Randy Orton match. Let's start with that one since that was the match that I started watching. Justin, your thoughts on that match? I was quite surprised it didn't get started at all. It was just a bunch of chaos started by Kevin Owens. What do you think about this match?
I think it is great character building on Kevin Owens' front to establish him as this newly heel persona that he is going for. It reminds you of what Kevin Owens used to be. It definitely reminded me of like his turn on Sami Zayn in NXT.
Yeah.
And for a Saudi crowd who was hot, I feel like they reacted to it very well, which is something it's hard to expect from a Saudi crowd because usually they're pretty quiet. So I think the mixture of the angle and the crowd made it perfect.
Oh yeah. Smokin Jim, your thoughts on that Randy Orton, Kevin Owens debacle?
Hey, I agree with everything our guest said, boy.
All right, there you go. All right, next, the Gunther Cody Rhodes match. I thought it was a really good match. I thought it was excellent performance from both of them. But once again, I thought Gunther went to the well too many times, and when you do that, you get burned. And I thought that's how he ended up getting pinned. Justin, we'll start with you.
I am a big fan of both Cody and Gunther. I really enjoy their style because it's so much different from the modern style. And this was a perfect, explanation of that. It reminded me of something that I watched with my dad that, from NWA or something like that. And I think, like you said, Gunther going to the well too many times was a perfect way to give Cody a win on a much needed win for like a reputable opponent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Smokin Jim, your thoughts on that match?
I'm always sad when Gunther loses. I thought he was going to win. You got to take your hat off to Cody. I thought a couple of times he was going to get choked out. How he survived that, I don't know. But excellent match for both those guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, next we got the women's tag team match, which we saw. It was a fatal 4-way. I thought that match was actually pretty decent. I thought it was a good showing of the match, and it's starting to get the women's tag team champions. Put on a pretty decent performance there, and I thought that the rest of the tag teams did as well. Your thoughts on this match, Justin?
Um, this is one that I personally didn't enjoy as much as I expected. I
Right.
think there was just too many moving parts,
Yeah.
and there were times when it's a little clunky. But my favorite part was just Chelsea Green. I think everything Chelsea does is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next, we're going to get into Roman Reigns, the Usos versus the old bloodline versus the newer version of the bloodline. I didn't expect Roman Reigns to get pinned, and I knew Sami Zayn was going to play some kind of role in this, but I didn't know what kind of role. Justin, your thoughts on this match?
I think the character work between Roman and the Usos was excellent. I think Jacob Fatu playing that monster on the other side was excellent. And as I mentioned earlier, I believe giving Solo that pinfall over Roman Reigns makes him it builds him up and makes him a threat, which I don't think Solo's been since he's been the tribal chief. And I wasn't expecting it. I did expect Roman to win, but it was a pleasant surprise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax. We'll start with you, Smokin' Jim, because this is your match.
Well, I don't like any women's match over there in Saudi Arabia because they can't beat it sexy. I need sexy in my life, but it was outstanding. You got to give it to Liv. She gives up a lot of size, but she makes up for it.
With her brain. She makes for it with her brain. Yeah. She always comes up with some way to win, regardless. I mean, you got to give it to her.
I don't know. She may be, somebody might outfox her because Tippy Time is already said she may take Dom.
Yeah, there you go. So. That could happen. You're exactly right. That could happen. And Tiffy Time could take her title too. And Rhea Ripley's not in the picture now because according to what I found out, was she got beat up or jumped before the event somewhere at a private place in Saudi Arabia, and Liv Morgan is the suspect. So I don't know if, but I do know Adam Pearce said last night that what she pulled was wrong, and he got her involved in something. And I think Adam Pearce's job is on the line. He's walking on eggshells. I think he's starting to crack the whip a little bit. He's going to have to. He's going to have to. His show's out of control, and there's some things that have been going on that shouldn't, like the Bronson Reed thing. That stuff shouldn't be going on, and just a lot of stuff. He let the bloodline do whatever they want, and where I'm hearing now that Nick Aldis could be wrestling Adam Pearce in a match coming up because. Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis keep on getting involved in each other's shows and arguing with one another. I'm hearing that match could be coming up, maybe even at Survivor Series. Wow. So we'll see what goes on with that. That's in the cards. I've heard rumors about that. We're gonna find out how that works out. So, all right. Let me think. I'm trying to remember. I don't have my notes handy with me about what else was in that Crown Jewel pay-per-view. I'm trying to remember some of these matches here. Sometimes I have a habit of forgetting things, and this is one of them.
There was the LA Knight match,
the Intercontinental match, the triple threat match. Your thoughts on that, Justin?
I think Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, anytime you get them in the ring together, it's excellent. The way they're able to tell a story and fly around the ring is something I think we are missing in today's wrestling.
Championship match. I said Intercontinental. Sorry. But
the finish I thought was amazing. The way that it flowed so well, and LA Knight getting right in there just in time to retain the United States title, I think was a good move. I think it was his first big title win or retaining match.
All right, your thoughts, Smokin' Jim, on that match?
All them boys can wrestle, man. I enjoyed it. It's a rivalry, and I look forward to the next one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Justin, refresh my memory. Did I leave out any matches, or did I cover them all? I think I did.
I think you covered them all. Yes.
Yeah, I did. Because there was only about 5 matches. So,
Yeah, 5 or
but
6.
anyway, 6, I think. I might have missed one, but we'll make it up later. But anyway, all right, guys, let's move on here a little bit. AEW, a new Hurt Syndicate getting started. Bobby Lashley made his appearance. Justin, what do you think about the Hurt Syndicate?
I think Bobby Lashley is a nice addition to the roster. As far as a guy that looks dominating, he looks like a wrestler, and he looks like a threat to everybody. And backing him MVP and Shelton Benjamin is perfect. I think the only question I have is if the guy with the book writing the show, if he can make it work. That's my only question.
Yeah, I know, because sometimes some of the storylines with AEW seem to go raw, and so. But anyway, let's get back to WWE for a minute here. We got the Wyatt Six going after the New Testament, or whatever they call themselves there. They got Miz as a hostage right now. I think that's pretty funny, but with the Wyatt Six, you never know what's going on with them. But anyway, we'll start with you, Smokin' Jim. Your thoughts first on the Hurt Syndicate at AEW, and then we're going to talk about the Wyatt Six versus the New Testament. Go ahead, Smokin' Jim.
Well, MVP's my man. Other than Don Callis, MVP is somebody I look forward to. So her business is growing. And what was the second question?
The second question was, what do you think of the Wyatt Six versus the New Testament?
Man, I tell you what, man, they got to vanish because they got everybody scared to death.
Yes, exactly. And I thought they were going to go after the Judgment Day. That was the original plan from what some of the stories I read. That the original plan was for them, but I guess they moved them to the New Testament there. And what's going on there?
I know Miz wish they went after the Judgment Day.
All right. Do you think that the rivalry between Miz and R-Truth continues, or do you think they move Miz into another direction, Justin?
I'd say they move Miz into another direction. I think making him feud with Uncle Howdy or Bo Dallas going forward makes a lot of sense just because of history. And I love R-Truth, but R-Truth's role just popping up, doing funny stuff, and having a match every once in a while works.
Oh, it does, yeah. Well, he's in his 50s anyway. He's been in the business for a long time. Keeps himself in some good shape to wrestle. But, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts, Miz versus R-Truth, or do you think Miz moves on?
Hey, I couldn't have said it any better than our guest.
There you go. All right. Smokin' Jim's enjoying himself with the motorcycles and all that, but, so today, he got rid of the bingo ladies for today. He's dealing with the motorcycles ladies now. So there you go. Yeah. I heard those motorcycles cranking there. So, but anyway, man, I got to say something about Smokin' Jim. I do all the time, but he's my friend. He's my co-host. He's great at what he does. And, but I always got to say something. I got to put something in there, so kind of like what Al Levine and Luther do. So, you got a nail, Jim, got a nail, so, but anyway, all right, let's get back to some more wrestle talk here. Guys, AEW a little bit. We'll get back into them. Orange Cassidy, can he beat Christian Cage? Do you think he could be a champion? And if so, would he be able to carry the company? And MJF coming back, possibly going after Daniel Garcia and whatever. I think MJF gets his belt back eventually somehow. I like MJF. I think he plays a very good role as a heel. He does his role very well, and he's good with the mic. And your thoughts, Justin, on this on this thing with MJF and whatnot?
On MJF, I think yes, it could be a matter of time before he regains the whether it's the international championship or whether it's the world title. I think he's the biggest draw on the show.
Tom Moxley got the world title, yeah. So,
Orange Cassidy, though, I think if there was ever a time to pull the trigger on Cassidy, it was at the end of his international championship run. I think I don't want to say too little, too late, but I think you waited too long.
Yeah, you think Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on this?
Uh, yeah. Do I think that Orange Cassidy can be a champion? Yeah, but not for a long period of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
MJF is the man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he carries the company very well on his back. He's very good with his mic, and he's really good as a heel. I really believe that to be the case. Private Party, they just won the tag team belts from the Elite. Rumor has it that the Young Bucks have injuries. That's why they gave up the titles. Yeah, I don't see Private Party keeping these belts very long. You got FTR Honda down their back. You got a few other teams that'll possibly be able to beat them. I see maybe what's his name's sons. I see Jay White and possibly coming after him, and a few other teams as well. Your thoughts, Justin, on Private Party?
I think Private Party is one of those situations where you jobbed a team out for 5 years and you expected them to be credible at the end, and there's no way to make a credible team after 5 years of making them the lowest thing on the card. And I definitely see anybody winning the titles from them, whether it's FTR, the Outrunners,
Right.
Name it. And I think it would make more sense than Private Party, honestly.
All right, Smokin' Jim.
I'll tell you what, man, they look pretty good. They took a beating, they took a licking and kept on ticking. And it looked like the crowd was really enjoyed the victory. I thought that they were going to lose and have to split up. I don't know how they kept coming back and back and back. It makes sense now because the champions packed up. So it makes sense what you said, Ralph, that they may have an injury.
Well, I know.
But
I know one of the Young Bucks has a shoulder injury. I do know that, and he was wrestling with it. The other one, I'm told, has an ankle injury. So I'm not real sure. Matt Jackson there and his brother Nick, who I met in person, by the way. Very nice guys, by the way. Met them in person at an ROH event here in Pittsburgh. I used to work security at the venue where ROH used to come in. So I used to see all these guys. In fact, I got to meet Tony Atlas, who I was actually he was head of security for ROH. So But anyway, if ROH comes back anytime soon, I may go back to the security company just to go to their events. So you never know. But so, but anyway, Justin, any final thoughts for you? Because we're getting ready to wrap up here in about 5-6 minutes. Your thought? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got one more thing about AEW. The Don Callis family. How about the new additions? We'll start with you, Smokin' Jim. Did you see the new additions to the Don Callis family?
No, I heard him call some people out that didn't show up, didn't come out, but I didn't see who are the new additions.
What's his name? Hobbs, I believe it is, Justin, right? And the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer.
Okay.
Brian Cage and Lance Archer.
Yeah, Cage and Archer. I got them two. I get them two mixed up, Hobbs and Cage, but it's Cage and Archer. So, what do you think about that?
Hey, anything with Don Callis turns to gold, brother.
Justin, your thoughts?
Earlier we was talking about Private Party. I think if you have a heel team that could take those titles, right now would make sense for Lance Archer and Brian Cage to go and take them.
Oh yeah. Don Callis is just like any other manager, wants to win championships, and So, your thoughts, Justin and Smokin' Jim, about the learning tree? Jericho is the new champion for ROH, heavyweight champion, and then you have Big Bill, and you got the other guy there that's with them. Your thoughts, Justin, on the learning tree?
From my understanding and from what I've read, a big reason that Jericho
Brian Keith, yeah.
A big reason Jericho won was because of a possible Ring of Honor TV deal.
Right, right.
Personally, I think if I was writing the script, I would have had Jericho help Big Bill or Brian Keith win the Ring of Honor title
right.
to strengthen them, and you're still there. Still can help with a TV deal, but I think Jericho is past his prime, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think he needs to spend some more time with Fosse. So, your thoughts, Smokin' Jim.
Hey, I couldn't have said it no better, man. That guess is awesome, brother.
Oh, you know it. Hey, Smokin' Jim, what are you doing? Washing your car or something? Cleaning toilets? I mean, I heard,
I did put a coat of wax on my car.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I heard the power washer going on, so yeah, one of them dollar car washes there where the wax goes out of the thing there, Hope you have change, So I do the drive-through thing for $27 a month, so yeah, so.
Your vehicle looks good too, brother.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, I got a really nice gem of a vehicle, and it suits my needs, and it's great to have it because I don't know if you noticed, Justin, I'm handicapped. I'm in a wheelchair, and I just recently purchased a Chrysler Pacifica for my wheelchair needs. So, but yeah, so it's been, I do what I do here, and I don't let it get me down. Smokin' Jim's part of a group that's giving me an award coming up November 16th. I'm getting the media and award for that. Tom LaJerky, who is a ring announcer for KSWA, he's getting an award there as well. So I'll be seeing him on the 16th as well out in Plumboro. It's going to be great. I haven't gotten an award like any kind of substance like this probably since I was in Boy Scouts when I got my Eagle Scout. So it's been a while. So, it's going to be nice.
Long overdue, brother. Long overdue.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's been a long time. It's been a long stretch for me. I've had some falls in the radio and broadcasting business. I've resurfaced here podcasting and doing shows here on social media. I'm on national shows now on podcasts, doing different things, wrestling shows. Wednesday night, I do a show with Peter Blake down in Sports Web there, Justin, if you want to check it out. He's on with the Sports Web. I do a show called Turnbuckle Talk from 10:30 to 11 with him. Some issues with his place because of the hurricanes. He hasn't been able to do his show, but he's back up and running now. So he's down in Tampa. So, but anyway, guys, we're going to wrap things up here in about a minute here. Justin, tell everybody about yourself and where they can find you or get a hold of you and your podcast.
Of course, everywhere, all social medias, it's ILW Pro Wrestling, whether that's Instagram, Twitter, or X. Facebook, you can find me, Justin WOOLWINE. It's JUSTIN, last name WOOLWINE. And any independent wrestling talent, if you want to get on the podcast and talk, I'd love to have you, and I'd love to get you on there to tell your stories.
All right. Terrific, guys. All right. Thank you, Justin, for being part of the program, and I appreciate you being here. And I think we'll talk again in the future here about some things, work with each other. That's all part of what I don't mind doing, and I'm sure you don't either. So,
Of course.
But all right, Justin, thank you for being part of the program. Say hi to my friends in the Windy City. Smokin' Jim, anything that you want to add to Justin before he goes?
Hey, one of the best guests we ever had on, brother.
Yeah. It keeps getting better and better, man. That's why I'm the booking machine. You know
I
what I
appreciate
mean?
it.
So, he calls me, I'm called the booking machine because you should see the guests I book, Justin, on every show I do. You should see the guests I get. I squeezed out a guest today to talk about the Steeler trade, and it was just crazy. You a Bears fan, Justin?
No, actually, I'm a Cowboys fan.
Cowboys. Oh my,
Yes,
Cry
sir.
Boys. There you go, Smokin' Jimmy's a Cry Boys fan. So there you go.
So am I.
Oh yeah, I know. So all right, Justin, thank you for being part of the program. You have yourself a great one. Thank you. We'll talk to you again. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Justin WOOLWINE. He has his own podcast, brings on independent wrestlers from across the country, sort of what we do here, mostly Western Pennsylvania, but I'm working on some stuff in other places, Ohio, West Virginia, places like that as well. It's all in this area to begin with, so it's all great stuff. Smokin' Jim, you have anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yeah. the biggest Chicago Bear fans will never admit it that they're Chicago Bear fans right now. So.
Yeah, I know. But you know what though? Chicago's a great sports city. They support everything that's there. I mean, they don't. They're just they support it all. They even have soccer teams that they support. So I mean, you know.
Does Chicago still lead the nation in murders?
I believe they do. I'm not sure. I don't know. I
Okay.
don't have the crime rate for the country.
Okay. Okay.
No offense to people that live. I think McKeesport does. I know. I have a friend of mine who's a McKees Rocks police officer. He's a lieutenant there now, and I think he worked his way up to captain. He's captain now.
Wow.
He told me, and it's still going. And he told me this 10 years ago, Smokin' Jim, and it's still the same now. McKeesport number 1, Wilkinsburg number 2, and that's in the state, and in the community in Philadelphia number 3.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't think Wilkinsburg's as bad as it used to be. I know some people on council there. They tell me it's not as bad as it once was. It's getting better. They're developing some things. They're putting up some affordable housing. I know somebody on council there. She told me they're not doing too bad. So you know. So we'll see where they go. City of Pittsburgh was trying to take over Wilkinsburg at one point, and they voted it down. So you know.
Wow.
Yeah. So city handles their trash. They handle their paramedic stuff and fire, but the police department's still there, and Wilkinsburg's still around. So as far as I know. I'm busy taking care of my own stuff. I don't have time to worry about homicides at this point, but you know, but anyway, yeah, when I talked to him last, he told me the same story. It's still the same. It hasn't changed. So, you know, but if you want it in Western Pennsylvania, Smokin' Jim, it's McKeesport, Wilkinsburg, McKees Rocks is number 3. So there you go.
McKees Rocks, ain't that something?
I lived in the Rocks. When I lived in the Rocks, it wasn't so bad. There were a few things here and there, but now it's worse. I mean, it's really bad.
Wow.
There's fires there. There's always some kind of stupid thing going on or something, and it's getting worse.
I know somebody's always getting killed on that bridge. I don't know what it is. That's like the death bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what it is.
I don't
know if
either.
people are drunk or what. Or the bridge is just too long. But
no, you know what it is. Everybody in the
bridge?
city's fighting with everybody in McKees Rock. So guess what? They go back and forth across the bridge. That's what happens. I mean, you know, they busted those guys who shot them. And I know a guy who was a deacon at that church in Brighton Heights where them gang members came and shut up that church. I know a guy that was a deacon there, and he said this woman grabbed him and pulled him down to the ground, and the bullets went straight over their heads. And if she didn't pull him to the ground, one of them bullets would have hit him.
Remember that church in Braddock? A guy came in.
Yeah, that guy right in the middle of service. Yeah, that was crazy there. Yeah, well, you know, Fetterman's not the mayor there anymore, so he still lives there, but he's not the mayor. So you know, but
he's big time now, right?
Yeah, he's a congressman or a senator or something like that. You know, so I used to like him. I don't too much anymore. I don't like the way he conducts himself. You know, when the president comes into town, and I know the bridge fell, and he was there for that. I get it. He shows up to when the president came to town, and I don't care if you like Biden or not. He's still the president of the United States. He showed up at the event that he was down in Hazelwood in flip-flops, shorts, and a hoodie. He had time. He lives in Braddock. Braddock's not that far. He could have went right down Braddock Avenue, went home, changed your clothes, got into something at least a little bit more decent, and he did that. And then when he got voted in as a senator, he showed up at Senate hearings in Washington in flip-flop shorts and a hoodie, and Chuck Schumer had to get mad at him and tell him, you know, you can't do that. And now he shows up with a suit and a tie because he was pressured. Everywhere he goes, he's in some kind of a hoodie or shorts or something. You're a senator, man. I don't care who you think you are. You don't conduct yourself like that. And that's I have a problem with that. And
good point.
And I have a problem when you drive 100 miles an hour up the turnpike. I don't care if you do. But he smacked the rear end of the car, and then he laughed about it. Thought it was funny. I mean, they interviewed him, and he's smiling, thinking it's funny. It's not funny at all when you rear end somebody.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and his staff is so scared to ride in the car with him because he drives reckless 100 miles or more an hour down the highway.
Wow, I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, and he had that stroke, and he can't talk too well. And I think he should have just said, "Forget it. I'm not going to do this." But he's doing it. I mean, I'll give him credit; he's doing it. But he's just not. That's not the conduct of a senator in my eyes.
Right. Right.
I mean, I don't know what you think
Mhm.
about it, and I know, like people say that's just John. That's his style. Well, I get that, but sometimes you got to change your style in order to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I mean, if I was a senator, I wouldn't show up in a t-shirt and shorts and in a hoodie or whatever.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
I would dress decent. You see, when we do our recording for the radio show, how I show up in decent clothes because I
Yeah.
respect the fact that we're doing a professional show. And
Yeah.
remember when we had the meeting with the radio station, they were like, all three of you well, that was
Yeah.
before we added Luther. All three of you showed up in suit and tie or sport jacket and stuff like that. They said
Yes,
they've
sir.
never had anybody
Yes,
do
sir.
that,
Wow.
And I said, yeah, we're professionals. That's why,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he should be a professional. He's not a professional. So, and I have a problem with that. I do. I mean, again, I
Good
don't know
point.
what anyone else thinks, but I have a problem with that. So that's like the president of the United States showing up to give the State of the Union address and shows up in a hoodie and shorts.
Good point. Good point.
Back in the day, Smokin' Jim, if you came to church like that, you got kicked out.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Nowadays,
Oh yeah.
people show up like that. You know what I mean? To church.
Yeah.
My
Mhm.
grandfather
Yeah.
was a strict Catholic, and I used to go with him and sell papers in Immaculate Conception. He was an usher there. And any kid that showed up with flip flops and shorts, he'd throw them out, tell them to go home and change.
Good.
And
Good.
that's what they used to do. And at Mount Ararat, they have a hat policy there because when I went there for your mom's funeral, they told me I had to take my hat off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was there before, but I'd say it's 10 years ago, maybe. Yeah, I was there for my ex-girlfriend's grandson was getting baptized there, and I was there, and they told me about the hat. So they have a hat policy there. So I mean, you're not allowed to wear a hat. So I know they let you get away with it, but they told me I had to take my hat off. So. I knew that'd make you laugh. But anyway, I'll let you get back to your food there. I know you stop and get and salute the colonel and then eat the pizza up on the show. So
I'm at KFC right now, but
there you go. Salute to the colonel. So there you go. All right. Have yourself a great day, Smokin' Jim. Anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
Another great show.
Absolutely, it is. And until next week, everybody have yourself a great day. And please go out and vote. Okay, please, because I don't want to hear from you if you didn't and you don't like the president. So go out and vote. All right. Have yourself a great one.